Wired Axcess.
We'll do it live.
Wired Access.
Do it live.
Wired Access.
We'll do it live.
Wired Axcess.
Welcome to another episode of Wired Access Podcast, where I'm your host, DJ K-Dub Omaha. To my left, I have Olukayode, Akinmoladun, Junebug, as most people call him.
Say mostly right.
But most respect for the name. You know what I mean? It's unique. I like to learn it. It's so awesome for me because people don't. My real name's Kendall. I don't go by Kenny. I don't go by Ken. It's unique and I love it. And there's a lot of family tradition with your name.
Right.
You know, you grew up in Grandview, Missouri.
Right.
Went there to high school. What all do you remember about good old Missouri high school football, sports? I think you started soccer first.
Yeah, I started soccer at a YMCA in Kansas City, and my dad was my coach. He was coaching me a little bit, and he's from Nigeria, so Nigeria, their football is soccer.
Yeah.
So started doing that for a little bit, and then football just came around, and I was just like, man, I don't want to kick any soccer balls anymore. You know, I want to start playing football. So I just from then on, I just started doing tackle football with the South Suburban League. That's what I started out with.
Well, in Kansas City, for those that are in Omaha area or in Nebraska, we travel there for baseball. We travel there for soccer. A lot of the competition is just better when we head down south to Kansas City, Des Moines. Mainly, they also have a lot more venues for people to partake. And that's what I know of Kansas City with sports, of why it's so rich and so loved in sports. And for those, I did forget to share, he's a part of the Omaha Beef local two-time back-to-back championship, 3 out of the last 4. Yep. Right. So, but then he's also taken on a new role of coaching. So I wanted to kind of bring him on so he could share a little bit about that part, but also just how he got to who Junebug is today. And I tell you, so football, you go from soccer to football. What was some of the things that you felt you could keep from soccer to use in football?
Agility, speed, quickness. I think that's a lot of things that helped me because I'm a big guy, of course, right? So people didn't think I was quick as others, you know what I mean? When I started at D tackle, defensive tackle, I was quicker than others, and then also bigger. So that was kind of like one of those things that, made me love the game football instead of soccer.
And when you think of back in high school, was your high school where you only could play one way? Were you able to play? Because, of course, here in Omaha area, metro area, we have some schools where they have so many players, they could play multiple position or only one position. They're kind of pigeon-toed into one. Right. You got other schools that, like some of the OPS schools, where one, they're barely have enough people to play, unfortunately. And two, these kids are having to play both ways, kind of like the Travis Hunter for Colorado, where right. OPS is having to play both ways. What was it like at Grandview?
I played both ways. Never really got out the field. When I was on the varsity, played defense, offense, special teams, whatever I was on. The only time I really got a break was kickoff. That was it.
Okay. And then, of course, you got your brother also going through it, Freedom, right? Mm-hmm. You guys are both going through football. Mm-hmm. What kind of was the back and forth there? Because it's got to be a competition, at least in styles and follow-up. What was that like growing up?
Well, I think he looks up to me. So I think that's where he got motivated to it's like one of those schools is you got to put the work in to get out.
Yeah, and what I like is you put in some work and you did a lot of what people are experiencing nowadays. You don't have to go right to the school that you feel you want to go to unless that's where you're able to get to. You took a little trip early to College of
Sequoias.
Yeah. What was that? First of all, what was your recruiting process in high school, if any? With all respect, because you went to Kearney, so I already know you played at a higher level. But then what was it like for you to see other athletes around you, and what made you choose to go to College of Sequoias first?
Well, honestly, I didn't start there.
Okay.
Right out of high school, I went to Independence, Kansas.
Okay.
The community college there. So I started there, played the season there. And I was at a Highland Community College for a little bit for that semester, that spring. And then I pursued college at Sequoias after that. I think it was more of a contact that one of the coaches said to go out there and to probably one of those things to get myself motivated, like not being close to family, but being self-motivated to find myself. So I think that's what happened out there.
So if there's one thing, if you were to look back on high school Junebug, if you had a message for high school Junebug, and especially with seeing the success that you've had after college, right? It isn't like you've seen your success grow as you grew up, but what would be one thing if you could look back at Junebug in high school and help yourself or help someone that might listen to this and might be able to have the ability, but to apply it as a whole thing?
Not to be lazy. There's a couple games I had, that light under me and tackles and whatever, sacks, whatever, pancakes. But there was a couple times I was just being lazy just because, you got a mindset like, once you get an offer from a school, like I'm probably not getting other offers or whatever, but once you start getting yourself motivated, I found that out in junior college. That's when I got myself motivated. It's where, it's either this junior college or I'll go into the workforce. So that's where I was like, I got to get myself to become better than the person across from me, person that's behind me, and to, better myself. And then that's another thing is see my brothers as well. For them to, go to bigger colleges from a bigger college from what I went to or, similar.
See, and I like that you brought that up because just recently we had Nick Hamilton with his brother, John, who was the older brother. He went and wrestled just at high school and didn't get out of high school. He went to the real world, but he's utilizing his wrestling for it. And then his brother Nick is now wrestling at Virginia because he utilized what his older brother went through it and some of those things. And I don't think people understand, like, it doesn't mean that your journey is bad or just it didn't go the way you wanted it, but people below you saw and was able to use it. And then they enforced you to go, I could do better and I can do different. And I think the sibling bonds along with brother bonds from football, because I watched you and Tommy and it's like you guys have been brothers forever. You know what I'm saying? And when you see football players, like that's what the team bond is about, whether it's down in Grandview, whether it's Kearney, whether it's the Beef, like it's a brotherhood. Right. And you're always trying to challenge. So you go to College of Sequoia. What was just going to there? What was all that for you?
I mean, it was a different experience for me. It was either you work out, play football, go to school. I mean, that was pretty much it. Keep yourself out of trouble, focus on what you're trying to do, your goals and everything else. So that's what I kept in mind is if I went to this school and I actually, got my associate's degree out of that, just make sure that wherever school comes get me, look at my options and get yourself out.
We had a boxer on here before, Ali Ta, and he talked about the reason his family comes to America and about its school and business. So then he wanted to be a boxer and he had to go out of what the normal is for his family coming to the U.S. What is that for someone like your dad? How was that support from your family coming from Nigeria, coming to the United States? What was their support on sports and the acknowledgement of what it was?
I think my dad came over here for school. So I didn't think that's where met my mom and everything from there. I think what ingrained into all of us from my cousins as well and his brother as well, all of us have that athletic ability and inside of us, but same time is, what are you going to do with it? Either it's going to be on the field, workforce, whatever it is, what are you going to do with that? So that, give us that fire too as well. So, and my mother as well, gave me that fire as well, of her working a lot as well. So me trying to get that passion of trying to get my mom out the house, you know what I mean? That type of feel.
Yeah.
So when you get that fire and try to get that fire out of you, you do your best where you're at.
So you get through College Sequoia, you come up to Nebraska of all places.
Yeah.
So you already, you're going to Nebraska, University of Kearney. What got you there? How did you even get spotted? Talk about even getting a call from a Division II.
I was going to go to Western Carolina, and I was there for a summer, and I didn't pass the class, and then unfortunately I had to go back home and get those grades right. But,
I'm glad that you brought that up. Hold on.
Yeah.
Because the transfer portal, it's a thing now.
Right.
What was that like going from there to Western Carolina? Like, what even drew you to Western Carolina? Was it coaches, the atmosphere first?
I think it was the coaches. I think that's for me. If the coach reaches out to you and be like, I got a full ride offer for you, then, the NIL deals that they have people today is more about what's included into it.
Gotcha.
Back in the day is, oh, okay, I got a full ride.
I got no school to pay for.
You got no school to pay for. You got mostly your food paid for and stuff like that. That's what, geared towards that.
So you go check out Western Carolina. It didn't work out. What's your thought when that didn't work out?
I mean, honestly, I was kind of bummed, and there I was there for the summer workouts and everything. And, but when I went back home, that same fire I had was to get myself out again. So I got myself out, and then that's when I went to Kearney. But one of the coaches at Sequoia knew a coach at UNK, and Andy Siegel. He knew one of the coaches there, and they came and drove all the way to Kansas City because they were part of the new MIAA.
Yeah.
So they drove up there and they had a conference out there, and I was already out there because I was back home, and they met me at a hotel downtown. And they said, well, we would like to have you here, so I'll just say, hey, doesn't matter where I'm at. I'm just playing football. So that's all that mattered to me.
So you get an offer from UNK. What did you know about UNK prior to even talking to school? Because, of course, most people are out looking for schools that they want.
Right.
You're looking for who wants you,
right,
no matter what it is,
right,
and then getting that info. And I think in life, I think it's also a mental thing to go, okay, I know where I'm at. If someone wants me, they're going to find me.
Right.
Marty Cordero said it. If you're a baseball player, they're going to find you. You can do all this great stuff, but they're going to find you. What was that like for someone to come for you and you kind of not have an idea of UNK?
I didn't know what UNK was all about. I mean, I did my research on Google, whatever, and they were ranked at that time nationally. But I was like, it's me playing, so it didn't really matter where it was at. But, I didn't take an official visit to the school. So I already signed and everything, didn't take an official visit. And then when I went down to Kearney, I was kind of culture shocked, I would say. I went from Kansas City, I went to Visalia, California. I mean, that's not small. That's about 30 minutes from Fresno. And I came back home and then go there. And it's kind of culture shock. But, honestly, they had a Red Lobster there. And when I saw right by the highway, I said, I might be all right. I might be all right here. So
get a little bit of the seafood and have the availability. So you get to Kearney. What's kind of the goals that you had to set for yourself in order to you had 2 years there.
Yep.
Left. What was some of the things that you felt you set forth to do, and what were you able to accomplish?
Everybody's mindset when they play college football is to get a look or something like that. But, at the same time, I was winning my degree because most of my family does have a bachelor's degrees or associate's degrees, but I wanted to be one of them that did get that.
So you go for the degree. What's the degree in? And are you able to apply it today to what you do?
I got a bachelor's degree in business administration. So that was really rough, a lot of finance and accounting courses, but I do apply it a little bit to what I do today at Bellevue. So I apply that a little bit there.
So you go for your degree. You're obviously playing football. What do you remember about your couple years at Kearney? What was some of the things that you're like, this is what it's about, finishing your last two, and what's somewhere you're like, man, I still could have, I would have.
There's a lot of, could have, like maybe I could have, maybe my senior year, I could have focused a little bit more than what I was doing. I think my junior year, I was 20 pounds lighter. And then I went home every once in a while, but just stayed there. And then, when there's nothing around and you're a college kid, they get into the party environment. I didn't get too crazy into that, but at the same time, I I was always in the library. So I still had that mindset. I got my homework done before that Friday, whatever, I get to, go out or something.
Enjoy
like
the
that.
Friday.
Yeah.
If you think of something because obviously you've brought up the simple thing that is possibly repeated for yourself, how do you think you kick? Because obviously to play for the Beef and win championships and be able to play at that level, you have to kick that laziness. What do you think turned in your mind way too late that you're just like, man, if I could have thought of how to get out of this?
Man, that's honestly junior college. Junior college at Independence, Kansas. If you've never been there, it's really small. Like it's maybe a Walmart's there. And then that
No Subway, come on, man. They're in the city of this world that don't
they
have a
might have had a
Subway.
Subway, but I ate at the food court mostly. But other than that, if you don't have a car, you're in the dorms. You know what I mean? And just chilling there. So I think that kind of like helped me as well. It's because every person that was going junior college, you're looking for opportunities. You're looking for the next big thing when you go there. You're not looking to just go junior college and you're done. Like who's like it's like a second chance when you go to junior college. That's what I see it as.
And it's becoming more and more common because playing time, right? That's got to matter as well in your decisions on, yeah, I can go here and sit here, or I can go here, get better, and possibly boost myself up. Not just one, but possibly two. Did that ever cross your mind? Was that ever a thing of understanding also like it's okay for the JUCO because it's time where you're getting to play instead of watch?
I mean, yes and no. My first year junior college at Independence, I had an opportunity to either redshirt or actually play. He gave me the option. He was like, "You're really good. You either can redshirt if you want to. It's between you and this guy. If you want to play, I'll let you play. But you want to redshirt, you want to redshirt." And I was like, "I want to play." So, as a freshman, I was like, "I just want to play. I'm out here, and that's what I'm here to do."
See, and I think that's where you take over yourself, like because many people will be like, "Hey, I played for, let's just say Nebraska. Did you play?" Well, I mean, I was backup. I was backup, which obviously it is hard to get to be a backup on there. Don't like no discredit. But if you went to a UNK, what if you were starting for 3 of those years and then you were able to, you know what I'm saying? It's like using a stepping stone. And I think it's getting a little more common nowadays and understood. You work now, you got into the work life. What'd you do after Kearney for football? Did you stay with it? Where all did you go?
After Kearney, that's where I got my bachelor's degree, and my first contract was indoor. So it was with the Green Bay Blizzards in Green Bay, Wisconsin. It's like the outskirts of it. But, that's where I got my first pro opportunity was from there because I was getting looked at by some NFL scouts a little bit, but it wasn't like, saying I'm interested. It was like, we're looking, that's kind of like we go through that high school to college level as well. We're looking at you, but they're not like saying we want you.
Because where's freedom at this point when you're out of Kearney, heading out of Kearney? Where's he at in school? Is he at Nebraska already?
I think he is.
Gosh, the years just fly.
A freshman probably.
Yeah,
but probably the last year. I think he's a freshman, but he came there as a tight end.
Yeah,
it's kind of funny, but.
So I mean, and I say this only because he's seen you go through all of these different things. He's able to get to his first college, and now you got people looking at you, and then in due time, he's going to have his people looking. What experiences were you able to share with him to kind of let him know just how it goes sometimes? You said that, because I think these are what the older brother can experience and pass down is better than what dad experienced and pass. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. When he was younger, I told him, I said, you gotta fix that. I was in high school. He was in middle school. I said, you gotta fix how you run. That's one step thing you gotta fix. And then after he fixed that, things started clicking a little bit. And then us as well, for my younger brother as well, he sees both of us. The laziness is not going to help you get out. You might get an offer somewhere that you might not want to go to, but if you work and have a work ethic, then someone's going to find you.
They will find you. You get out of Kearney, you get a few offers, you go up to Green Bay. What's the first pro experience on that side? Because at each level, the experience is different. I only say it because I almost got back into semi-pro when I was like in my 20s thinking, oh, I'll go back and play. I got this. And that's how I ended up getting to coaching and meeting a lot of good people and doing what I do now. So I don't disregard it, but there's just different levels. What was it like going to Green Bay with that team, and what do you remember?
I mean, I was living in Texas at that time, so Green Bay at that time was cold. It was around January, February. It was really cold, and coming from Nebraska to Texas, you kind of get used to that being warm and everything like that, and what you're wearing. I'm like, I got to bring a big old coat down here, and we were at a hotel. That's where we stayed at. The only thing we really got to eat was Culver's all the time. That's the first time I had Culver's was out there. So, then my first experience is being reliable to your players, your coaches, and the ownership. You got that name on your shirt, your hat, whatever you're doing. They know who you are. It's not as Green Bay was a big town. It's a small town. They know who you are. So that's the thing, is to represent the team.
How does the Green Bay Packers, do they have anything as far as like even allowing you guys? Because you know how with the Beef, we bring out other teams and invite them to come watch. Did the Packers ever have any connection or like, hey, you guys can come watch us practice or anything of that sort that you remember?
We got to visit the stadium and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's literally where we have games at. That stadium is literally across the street.
Okay.
Stadium,
well, I am going to get to go there next month.
Yeah.
I'm going to go watch the Niners play the Packers.
Okay.
So I'm a Niners fan, and they're finally coming this way. I'm 0-1 this year. They lost to Minnesota on a flukes play. But anyways, no, I can't say no. Minnesota's, they're doing good this year. So, but I hope that we get a win in Lambeau, and I hope in November it's not 2 degrees. That's all. Those are my only two hopes. Not 2 degrees and take a win.
Need a heated jacket or something.
All right. So you get through Green Bay. What's next up for the experience of football?
I play like 4 or 5 games. I get cut. And then I go to Texas Revolution, which is in Texas.
Okay. You get cut.
Yeah.
For what? What do you feel? What's kind of going through there? Because obviously they wanted you. People wanted you, right?
Yeah.
And then you get cut. And I think once you're trying to make money at what you do, the cutting's a little different, right?
Yep. I think it's every professional that's like when they're waiting for when it's cutting time, you don't want that door and they're knocking on the door or whatever. Bring your playbook or I want to talk to you or type of thing. I think I was like the last hour or something like of cutting, like when they were cutting those days. So I was like, man, I might have make it. I might have made this team or whatever. So after the 4th, 5th game, I went over there. He was like, I need your playbook.
Damn.
Yeah. I mean,
who was your first call when he said that?
I told my fiance, which is my wife now, told her, and then I talked to my agent at the time, and I was like, I'm gonna go home and kind of get this figured out a little bit. I think I did a bus home. That was a long trip.
But it gave you the time that some people like. I don't know, man. In this day and age, everything is so now and so fast that. I've told my wife I want to do a train ride. I want to do like an 8-hour, 10-hour, 12-hour train ride and just see what it is, just to not have to worry about driving. I mean, we just did a cruise, so that's kind of like that. Like because I'm a driver, and we go places. So you get on the bus, you're heading home. What's kind of rolling through? Is football for you? Is it questioning that route, work route? Because are you also working during this time?
Yeah, I was working at the YMCA down there in Texas a little bit, and I took a long break since I was telling them I was leaving.
Yeah. So you head back to Texas, get a play in Texas. Where's that at?
Dallas, Texas. I was living in Arlington. It's like Flower. It's not Flower Mound, but it's like around there. It has different bigger cities around there. So
yeah,
primarily in Dallas. So we played there. So how that happened was I called a coach that I knew from, which I didn't mention yet.
You're okay.
But I played with the All-American Bowl.
Okay.
Have you ever heard of that?
Yeah.
So the coaches that I talked to, who helped me get to Green Bay. I talked to him about that, and he was like, "Hey, I know this coach here." So went out there to try out. They're at their practice facility, and only had like maybe 4 or 5 sets, and I was like, "Yeah, we need you to here tomorrow." So,
so it went from down, going, "What am I going to do next?" to you get another offer. And what I really like that you're fully explaining is the connections, because I think as you go from even middle school to high school, I mean, there's so many select teams, there's so many, football teams besides the middle school and besides the high school that people will go play for. Every coach that talks to you, you never know when that coach is going to be some connection down the line to get you to where it's, I mean, it's like the real world, right? You could tell people every day now that it's more about who you know sometimes than what you know. Because if you know the right person that cares about you and believes in you, they're going to make sure you keep continuing and find offers. So you get the one for Texas. They need you. How many games did you get in there and how long?
I started the next game. So I started at guard, actually, right guard. And I was probably one of the better online men. I won't just say that, whatever. But once I got there, they were actually already doing good. But I think I just polished the O-line, what they were doing there, because they were blowing out teams that year. That's probably the first year we should have won a championship there, but we just blew out almost every team by 20.
So you're doing this indoor football league. At any time prior to that, did anybody talk like Canadian League, Europe League, any of that stuff?
Yeah, I had a tryout with Edmonton. I had a tryout with them, and down in Texas as well. So I had a tryout with them, and how their rules are a little bit is kind of a little bit different than American. It's like they may be looking for a couple players, but more they're looking for more specialists than D-line and O-line.
I gotcha.
So, and, the coach was looking, but it's one of those things like we're interested, but you hear from us type of thing. So,
okay, and so by this time, I'm sure where we're at in your story, we're probably pretty close to COVID, right? Getting closer to COVID years? No? Still a couple away. But
Yeah.
Isn't like XFL and all that coming around? Did you ever have any of those XFL, UFL ideas, thoughts when those continue, like more leagues popped open? Or were you enjoying what you're finding in an arena league?
I mean, yes. I mean, a couple things factored. Some sources said like when it first started XFL, whatever, and it didn't really run.
Yeah.
So some people was like, it's not worth the time. So that's kind of the thing is, kind of my mindset on that was maybe I might shoot for it, but my sources say, which is reliable, said give it 2 games. It's not gonna last. Those type of things. So.
Seeing it's having the right people in your corner, because some people are all like, go get it. But it wasn't there. So you have fun in Texas. How many years were you there at that team?
Just 1 year.
1 year.
Yeah.
Then what was next up after that?
I was up here.
Back up to Omaha. How'd you get connected to Omaha?
Like moving up here?
Yeah, like what even got you with Omaha?
Me and my wife, we kind of were thinking about what cities you want to live in. And it was like whoever gets the first offer, it's kind of like a little thing. If we go to Kansas City, where I'm from, or if we go to Omaha, and we have one in like Oregon and Washington, like we pick like certain cities for those. And then whoever gets the offer, that's just the first one we're going to. Because we love Texas, but it's like a love and hate relationship with it. So then we moved to Omaha. And then I was talking to Corey Ross at the time. He was the head coach there.
Yeah.
And funny thing is, I didn't really try out then too. So I came there and he was like, I'm looking for a center. So I came up here and I started playing center here. So that's where I started out there. Start with the Beef.
So how long have you been with the Beef?
Feels like forever. Since then, that was 2000 and see here. I don't know how. Let's see here. I've been 8
years,
7, 8 years, probably.
What has been the reason that organization's been able to stay along and stay afloat as they are? Because you see it everywhere, places you go to play, but also just like the constant movement of teams or ownership. What has made Omaha succeed?
Fan base, being part of the community is probably the most thing that's probably helped the Beef stay apart. Because there have been fans who've been fans since it's been started with the Beef, and they've been going to
You're
almost
25.
almost every game or something like that. I met them too before, and I think that's what helps an organization run is the fans that keep coming back.
So you've been with them for 8 years. A lot of different players, different teammates. What is it like just kind of knowing that you're a statue in the team and a constant in the team, and there's not many like you in the league that do that with a team, and you already know that where people move,
Right.
whether it's something they have an issue with, but people aren't staying with arena teams for 8 years. It's got to be known for something, consistency, and just being available. What does it mean for you?
I like it. It's like a hobby, and also I love playing football. I was having a discussion with my wife the other day about, I had opportunities for other indoor teams and everything else, but this is close. This is home, so that kind of helps that Omaha has a team. So that's why I've probably been here for a while, and and then the fans are show me love as well, even if it's not during the season. So I keeps me coming back in a way. So we'll see.
You have family here, obviously. You work at Bellevue University. What do you do for them, and how'd you get hooked up with Bellevue University?
That's funny because when I was playing for the Beef, my QB at the time, goes by Chuck Charles Wright. So he's the one that got me. He said, "Hey, why don't you just come to Bellevue and get a better job than what I've been doing?" Because I was working 3 jobs at the time. So I was like, "No, I'm not ready. I'm not ready." And then that following year, I reached out to him, and then he gave me a job there. They gave me a job there.
What do you do for them?
I'm a admissions counselor, so enroll students to come to Bellevue that have interest in that.
I think that's pretty good key to give out. Obviously, they do not have football, but they do have basketball team that's well known, softball, volleyball, that are starting to see a lot of success. Soccer. I mean, the whole Omaha area is, but Bellevue University is esports. If they live in this state, what is the most important thing they need to know if they're coming to Bellevue University? What do they get for being an in-state student to come to Bellevue? Is it $5,000 off? I know they get some credit. Come on, admit.
I don't even know that.
You don't know the dollar amount?
I mean,
I know that they get some credit though for being in state.
Well, it just depends because Bellevue University is Bellevue University is open enrollment. So how we work is we have students that are in-class students.
Yeah.
Students that are out, who are just online. So we work with both. Ones are more in-class, they have different rates as well. And the ones online that have a standard rate no matter what around the world. Basically.
All you guys is growth. You guys are getting a new facility for sports.
Mm-hmm.
How important is that to the growth of Bellevue University and knowing that you're seeing this happen in front of you? What does it feel like on the admin side as far as just the growth?
I think it's just huge for the sports. I think it's time for them for the basketball and every sport they have there to have a real facility. They had facilities before. This is just more of just the modern, how we going to get, potential players here perspective. And then also for, even if there's not a person that's not in sports, they may be able to use it for gym purpose wise, that gets them here too as well. So
more gym time. That's for sure.
Right.
Always need those for the youth. So now we'll get to what you're doing and what your next adventure is, as if having a kid and family at home ain't enough. Working Bellevue University, still doing the Beef, and now you're gonna go to coaching some flag football. What is that all about? And how'd you get roped in? But I know that your dad is a coach, so now it's like you tie in back to what dad did growing up.
I always had this in the back of my mind to do something as part of the community, doing something because there's not enough out there. There's only a couple out here in Omaha, but it's not enough. for people to find out. But the organization is NEXGEN. And then how I got part of that was from Chris Perry. He was like, I need some coaches, to help me out because he wants to do the same thing. He wants. Right now, we got flag football, just boys right now. In the future, they want girls as well. So, and then next year, he wants to also tackle. Try to have that will help build up next gen, but also have opportunities for others in Omaha to find other.
And you're starting with flag. What's important to get the flag part off the ground and make sure that these kids understand that you guys are really trying to get them to learn the game before anything else?
I think for me, it's more about the fundamentals of flag, but also as them learning how to not only flag, but how they can put that on the field once they get to, even if they're 8th grader, once they go to 9th grade, how can they, get themselves open? How can they do this? How can they do certain moves or something like agility, stuff like that? That's primarily my focus is try to help them out with those little things when it comes to the flag game.
All right. So how can they find your guys' company and when are the signups?
Well, it says here you can go to NEXGEN website there. You can contact Chris Perry as well. There's also a scan code on the website. But if you go to football director, this is the email at nsgsnebraska.org. You can email Jennifer as well, and then she can definitely direct them to what they need to do to get signed up.
And we'll have that on the bottom in the comments. What do you have for when's the dates that these signups are for? This weekend, right?
It starts October 7th. They can start signing up now. I think it's past that, but October 7th to October 26th is the registration date. So that's about.
So just a couple more days that they could sign up. What age groups are they looking for?
5th to 6th, 8th graders.
5th through 8th graders. Okay, so we're looking for middle schoolers and some of those later in the elementary.
Right, and there's linemen involved as well.
Linemen involved. So how does this go?
Basically, CP, Chris Perry. This was a thought that we thought about as well. We're going through that as well, where either they're going to work on their little blocks in a little bit to help them out to involve their game, or maybe there might be one of them that goes out for a pass or something. So we're just working with that.
You want to pull the championship Junebug special, don't you?
Maybe a little bit.
You do.
Yeah.
And that's all right. Well, I like that, man. Lineman and flag football, I like it because you guys are letting them all learn instead of just going, it's all skill. Because I think that's sometimes what kind of gets taken away from the game when it is just 7-on-7. This is going to be 8v8 with some linemen. But I think on 7v7, you just kind of lose that. Yeah, you can look good in front of all this, but what about a little pressure? What about just some of the blocking? And also just so they feel a part of it. I mean, like you said, you've played lineman all your life. What is it like just scoring a touchdown? I mean, and especially in a championship game, what's all that like? For those that don't know, the Omaha Beef won this year, and Junebug got the Junebug special from Tommy. And all Tommy Armstrong looked at him and says, "You better catch the damn ball," making sure he knew. But what is it like? I mean, as a lineman, it's a rarity, but it's when it happens, it's a gem.
I think you're starting to see that kind of in the NFL as well. You've seen not even O-line, but D-line. They're they're getting these interceptions and whatever and running it back in a way. And then all these things that the Lions are doing. You see those little things that you make the linemen enjoy the game a little bit more.
And I think it just gets you away from, the continuous of all I got to do is block. But knowing that you put in the time and being able to get the reward at the end is probably the best. Right. We'll get you out of here on this. You're coming up to a new year. Mm-hmm. Is Junebug coming back to the Beef? Has that been decided, or is that still getting decided? That's still getting decided. I knew it was going to happen, but yeah, that's still getting decided on a couple of factors I'm looking through to make sure they're all good before. That's what matters. And the best part is it's, you know, whatever way you go, just as the other players, we're still here to support you. And I think you got a good supporting class around you. If you're looking to play another year, are you hoping for a different position? You hoping to stay what you've been doing? What's your hope for this next year if you get to play?
I'm probably going to say, you know, Junebug Island, I guess you want to say. I'm probably going to stay there, stay at the right side, because that's where I solidified a lot of things. I know past years I did center. I did a couple of games I did center as well, just because we had a player go down. So I had to do it. I had to step up. But I'm just stay at the right side, maybe defense a little bit, put that a little bit in there.
I have to ask, and I only ask because, of course, I've seen this guy out at a after party, not partying. What do you think is the biggest trait that maybe Tommy has instilled in a guy like yourself and the friendship that you guys have built? I mean, I'm going to be honest. I told people where they're at the after party, I'm DJing it up, and this dude's sitting there studying plays with a Sprite. Like, it just doesn't make sense, man.
Yeah.
The mentality, that people forget.
You know, I've been with known him for 2 years, 2 seasons. Kind of got a lot too as well. Kind of ideas about what he's thinking, what I'm thinking when it comes to him being a quarterback, me being on the line. Like, this is not going to work. He's like, this is what I'm thinking. And I was like, well, we got to block it this way. Those are some things that we show leadership and respect to each other, and now that works. So like, came successful the past 2 years and everything like that. And you notice like if you see the last video, if you've seen it, Tommy was tired. And we were all tired, of course. The last throw, he was just tired, and I was just over there just talking to him. I said, "You good? Make sure he's good and everything," because we were both all sweaty at the end of that OT.
He calls retirement. Does that change your mind on playing?
Does it change my mind?
Yeah.
No, it doesn't change my mind on that. What I look at, the way I look at that is I got a friendship out of that. So, I even we hung out at the lake house with our kids and everything else too. So, respect to Tommy. He making that decision and everything with retiring and everything. He had to make that decision. So, I'll make my decision when I'm ready, and we'll see what happens.
Well, once again, it's another Wired Access podcast. Make sure to check out Next Gen Flag Football. We'll have that posted down below. Remember, like, share, follow, everything. And remember, everybody's journey to where they are today is different. As you can see through JUCO route, it's a thing. You can be successful and move on. And he's been playing in the pro leagues for the indoor league for 9, 10, 12 years. I mean, That's a long time to get to play the game that you love and still work. Once again, Wired Access, part of the Hurrdat Sports production. See ya.